Good evening, Overwatch fans, and welcome back to the final day of the community raising money for the crisis in Ukraine. Thank you so much once again for tuning in to the last two matches of our amazing tournament. My name's Captain Jack, and I'll be casting alongside Tangerine tonight as we bring you the best that this tournament has to offer, as well as a slew of folks working very hard behind the scenes on production tonight to try to give you the best that we possibly can in terms of every angle of the field. So if you haven't already, be sure to be hitting that exclamation donate in the chat to help us raise money for Global Giving's Ukraine Crisis Fund. We already had a donation come in, I believe it was last night or earlier today, from Lect, who was seen as possibly to be done last night, but survived long enough to be here today. Donation amount of $30, $10 for losing the Torb 1v1, and $20 for the two play the games they have so far, brings us up to $923, which means, Tangerine, we are less than $80 away from hitting our goal tonight, and I believe you and we have a couple of incentives for folks to help us get to that $1,000 goal.
Oh, you know that we do. We are definitely getting close there to hitting the $1,000 goal as we try to bring you what Captain Jack was saying, the best of the best, and to enforce that even more, we do have a couple of incentives that we are going to be doing should we hit $1,000. Namely, what I'm going to be doing over on my Twitter and on my Twitch, and I'll even stream. Heck, I'll go ahead and even stream for it afterwards. I'm going to be changing all of my profile pictures to old baby photos of me for the next month. So I will gladly take that one as it will for this wonderful cause as we try to bring you the best of the best today. Captain Jack, would you like to share your incentive?
I sure will. Now, those of you that have been watching me cast for quite some time may know that anytime that Junkertown comes around, there's a little piece of me that goes a little insane. It might get a little exploding. So if we reach our $1,000 goal, I'm gonna go ahead and let that little beast out for a map, maybe two, depending on how many donations we get in. You know, we'll say for like every 100 after that first donation, I might let the beast out, and he might get to cast a little bit. It might be fun. So if you're looking forward to that, be sure to be hitting that exclamation donate. Remember, we don't really have a way of tracking things, so if you want your donation to count, be sure to also be filling out the Google form. We don't have to shout you out on stream, but it at least lets us know that the donation is going in. And it looks like we're already getting our first map for the evening. Remember, this is the losers finals between UNC Esports Varsity and Kaiju Core TMC. And we're going to be starting off tonight, Tangerine, on Oasis.
Yes, an exciting one to start off on, and an even more exciting matchup, if I'm being completely honest. Kaiju Core Tengu's Money Crew, I believe, is what a TMC stands for, faced off against UNC Esports Varsity earlier in the winners bracket, and even though it was a close battle between the two, UNC did end up coming out on top of that 2-1 and ended up trying to run through the bracket before getting knocked down into the losers bracket by our current winner bracket champions, which is the Crumplers. So this is going to be an exciting rematch, actually, in the losers final that we have today. Could not ask for a better match to start us off today, Jack. It's going to be first to two, and yeah, starting off on Oasis, we're going to see exactly how these players are going to be popping off, honestly. Control's the most pop-off heavy map, so I expect to see some fun stuff.
And the fun part about it is going to be the differentiation of compositions that we've seen coming out from both of these teams. We've seen a lot more dive-ish compositions coming out from UNC. One of the biggest banes to any team that has faced them's existence thus far has been Minshai on that Sombra. Has been on an absolute tirade throughout the entire tournament. I mean, the first match that I casted of them in the round of 16, very first match of this tournament, they had earned up an EMP within the first 30 seconds of Oasis City Center. The point hadn't even been captured yet, and the fight kept going for like 2 minutes. It was insane, the way that this Sombra player plays. So obviously, the Crumplers have found a way to be able to keep that Sombra at bay to send UNC to the lower bracket. But I tell you, that's something that Kaiju Corps is going to have to watch out for going into this first map. But they are not alone in or defeated in any way, shape, or form. You know, they were able to make it to the semifinals against UNC before being relegated down here. And one of the biggest thorns in any team side that has faced them has been Lect, surprisingly, on the Junkrat. Wouldn't be a hero that you'd think would be picked a whole lot in a game, especially in the higher tiers where accuracy is kind of the aspect. But if you watched last night's match of Tengu's mommy crew, as was shown on UNC's channel last night, which I had to, it was a little funny. I gotta be honest. Lect doesn't have to be a hit scan player to be able to take out Far Mercies in the Sky. Doesn't have to be on like a hit scan or something with crowd control to be able to take care of a Sombra player. So for me, this is kind of like the clash of two titans right now of the tournament, and this rematch in particular, I think, even though, you know, the finals is definitely going to be good, I feel like this is the one that is going to make or break how that finals looks.
Yeah, I agree. I have to say, Kaiju Corps TMC have actually been on a tear within the losers bracket too, coming out 2-0 across all of the matches that they've been playing so far within the losers bracket. And you mentioned Lex Junkrat. Lex's ability to play projectile DPS heroes, I even know from firsthand from playing against him, is the scariest thing that I've ever witnessed firsthand in an Overwatch game. The amount of positional knowledge that Lect has within their gameplay is absolutely incredible. And I'm super, super excited to get to see how this Kaiju Corps team ends up panning out. In fact, we actually have an ex-coach of course, my university, DePaul University, on this team as well. So I am super, super excited to get to see everybody play here today. I got a lot of relationships going on with everybody over at the Kaiju Corps team, but UNC has been an absolute powerhouse throughout this tournament. So it's going to be incredibly exciting to actually see how this is going to go down, especially given this kind of revenge arc storyline that's been going up here. Are Kaiju Corps going to be able to come back and rally back after taking that loss to UNC and make their way into the grand finals and try and beat the Crumplers? Or are they going to just fall a little bit short here as UNC might clean this one up? But we are going to be loaded up into University first as UNC Esports starts on the left and Kaiju Corps on the right.
We'll go ahead and see them moving into the objective. Team compositions we're seeing from Kaiju Corps. We'll go ahead and get that title fixed there, folks, here in a couple of minutes. But we're seeing once again that double shield. Mixo on that Orisa has been another deadly force. And as you know, if you watched UNC last night, there was a Torb 1v1 to start things off. So we're going to see it once again to see who takes the objective. Narcoman versus Lect. And Narcoman once again takes the win. Lect going to be donating another $10 to our amazing cause as the fight goes ahead and starts right here. It looks like UNC going to go ahead and push back the Kaiju Corps team. That 5v6 does kind of leave you a little bit of a disadvantage as that percentage starts to climb.
Yeah, unfortunate torp gap there for the side of Kaiju Core TMC. They'll be able to try and get back into this fight. I actually am very surprised here. They're going for a very beefy core with this Orisa Reinhardt trying to speed in to the composition of UNC. So this fight's going to be very indicative of how a lot of this is going to go. UNC going for more of a traditional brawl in this sense. As a window comes out from Afro, taking space off onto point B's Immortality falls. And several members are actually falling right now for the side of UNC Esports off of the back of that window, but MTD right now coming out from Don. Swinging that hammer away, trying to find the rest of the kills. Kaiju Core might have to back off.
Yeah, it was a little surprising to see that Kaiju Core did back off a little bit before going in, but then just kind of allowed UNC to rotate through that side room. Lector starting out with this Molten Core being matched there by Narcoman to get into the point. It looks like everybody's gonna get a little bit of that hot foot.
Yeah, UNC are just absolutely dominating right now when it comes to crowd control over the point. With that Molten Core laying down all over the point right now for the side of UNC, it was able to just zone away Kaiju Core. Gonna try and come back for this next fight, Jack.
We do see Lect coming out on this Junkrat, as we have said, incredibly deadly player, definitely that high risk, high reward Junkrat player, but Minshai EMP finds 5.
Yeah, that's a huge EMP coming out, and that's just gonna be a cleanup there for the side of UNC. Cleaning up 3 members of Kaiju Core. Shadow comes out, puts the nail in the coffin right there as Afro falls. Lex just going to try to get to point. The pin doesn't quite come through, but Lex won't be able to do anything anyway, besides get the martyrdom kill onto Don Jose right at the end. And 1-0 right now, up is UNC Varsity.
Yeah, right now it's literally just coming down to the crowd control that we are seeing from UNC. As soon as they grab the objective, they're doing incredibly well of just kind of rotating around. When they see the enemy coming in from one direction, they utilize part of their team to kind of rotate behind them and put them in kind of a ice cream sandwich wherever they are on the objective, and then take them out that way. But nevertheless, Kaiju Core probably doesn't think it's very delicious on their end. As we head into the garden, we are going to be seeing the Wrecking Ball Diva dive come out from Kaiju Corp, with UNC opting for the traditional dive. Both DPS teams coming out with a very interesting set. Narcoman opting for the soldier with Lex on the Doomfist.
I like this Doomfist pick though up against the 6-man, and that's exactly why the 6-man trying to run into Lect, and just the powerhouse that is Doomfist can completely stall the 6-man Shadow Brawl push that comes out from UNC Varsity. This UNC Varsity dive loves to stick together with that Moira and that Lucio and try and take on almost a rush kind of style, and that Doomfist just shuts it down.
Yeah, but as you can see already, Minshai, even though they got shut down early, still is already at 50% on the Sombra. I told you, they are absolutely insane when it comes to charging up that ultimate. As UNC goes ahead and moves in, you know that Lek getting hacked out early.
Yeah, Minshai is going to be a real thorn in the side here for Kaiju Core. There's a lot of people that could be affected by the hacks of Minshai, but the remake onto B, I wish I could have seen that happen maybe a bit more as the tank line right now for the side of UNC Varsity under a lot of pressure, but Master Sword coming out with the main support picks. It's even trades coming out right now for the side of UNC Varsity and Kaiju Core TMC, just trying to fight back and forth for the point, but the point flip to the side of UNC as the attack visor comes out from Narcoman. Narcoman trying to lay waste to the back line right now of the side of Kaiju Core TMC. Lex going to try and get another punch in, but not quite.
Wow, what a bunch of focus fire there at the end. Even a little bit of possible self-destruction there from Narcoman, as the fight is still being fought for. Minshai already up to the EMP to be able to move their way in here, and are still getting pick after pick. Ultimates coming online for UNC, and Kaiju Core are gonna have to think of a different strategy to deal with the Sombra player.
Yeah, Kaiju Corps, though, in a really rough position. They committed 2 ultimates towards the end of that fight that really did not need to happen, and now Minshai has EMP combined with the Coalescence that could come out from B, and Master's Wood has the beat to sustain anything that Kaiju Corps do. This should pretty much be a dry fight right now for Kaiju Corps if they want to try and get something done as the EMP comes out. Spoody manages to find a pick, though, early as Yoshisaurus falls. The hack consistently coming out onto this poor D.Va player. Let Spoody play the game, Minshai. Please, I beg of you, as Mixo finds the slam on the Master Sword. This is actually going really well on the side of Kaiju Corps right now, so the rally's invested from Sybil, who is Rannoch over on the side of Kaiju Corps TMC. Mixo will end up falling, though, and the beat from Master Wood keeps the members of UNC Varsity healthy. And this fight's going a while, Jack.
Yeah, I mean, they're probably going to take it to the 99 right here as we go ahead and see Narcoman now swapping over to the Cassidy to try to give a little bit more crowd control and assistance to Minshai and the rest of the team. And they are doing well cleaning up this objective. Mixo and Rannoch just falling to the unfortunateness that is Minshai right now. Another EMP being unleashed. And that's going to be it. UNC locking in this first victory and taking us to match point here on Oasis.
Yeah, I think it honestly just comes down to focus fire from the side of Kaiju Corps, if I'm being honest. I enjoyed the Doomfist pick for the initial thorn in the side that it caused to the UNC 6-man, but after the Sombra switch went through, it really was just difficult to get anything running. The ball and the Devo were constantly hacked from the side of Kaiju Corps, unable to take up space over on the point, and, well, that leaves UNC 1 up in this series, and in a pretty convincing fashion, too.
Yeah, and that's one of the hardest things about teams that are incredibly skilled, right? Is that you think that one player is really the one that you got to be focusing on, but really when everybody's good, it's hard to pick who is the most important at that particular time. But at the end of the day, you do have to focus on a single person or a couple of people, at least to kind of find that linchpin to be able to pull them out. It started off pretty well on Gardens for Kaiju Corps, but in the end, they kind of lost that momentum, lost that focus, but hopefully they'll be able to turn it around, bring us to a map 3. They have done it before, and I'm sure they will do it again. During that map, we did get another donation in from Skittles at the amount of $30. So thank you so much, Skittles, for donating to an amazing cause. That brings us up to $953, only $47 away from our $1,000 goal. Let's see how far we can get tonight, folks.
Yeah, hopefully we can get as far as possible tonight. $953 raised so far for our goal, and we got so much more to go, Jack. That was just the first map of the day, of so many more to come. So stay tuned, continue to keep watching, and we're gonna keep bringing in some more action. I'm curious as to see what this next map could possibly be, Jack. Considering it is loser's pick, Kaiju Corps could potentially be trying to go for something that keeps them a little bit more coordinated, possibly going in for more of a rush style. They seem to enjoy running this Orisa Reinhardt composition when it came out to the rush comp. I wonder if we would see anything else like that start to come through, possibly going somewhere like Kings Row would be a fun choice for them. Could possibly suit this team well.
Yeah, I mean, we did see it yesterday for sure. Them choosing Kings Row and running that double shield composition. But we've also seen a little bit of flexibility in a lot of different maps. You know, we've seen teams pick Numbani this weekend. And thankfully, they can kind of go anywhere they want to be completely honest. They don't have to go to hybrid. They actually will be selecting Escort. It looks like going to be going to my favorite place to get your kicks, Route 66. Now, that is going to be an issue for the folks on Kaiju Corp, unless they're going to be running a composition that is literally going to be designed to be keeping Minshai out of that backline. Because honestly, with all the space between objectives Alpha and Bravo, there's just so much room for Minshai to just be continue to be an absolute thorn in Kaiju Corp's side. So we'll have to see kind of how they mitigate that and how they hold control of the areas of this map. I guess it also depends on whether they go on the attack or defense to start things off, which we'll be finding out shortly.
Yeah, and Route 66 is an interesting one too, because there's a myriad of compositions that can work on this map depending on whichever side you're on. I've seen Double Shield be fairly effective on this map. I've seen Rush actually also be fairly effective, holding up close on the defense. Has been a fairly viable strat actually, considering all the debris that surrounds the first point. If you are able to get a decent close hold going, you can definitely stall a good amount of time off of the clock on Route 66 and still find yourself in a good position to find a second fight on the first point. I mean, there is several different compositions that could potentially come out here from Route 66, and with players as flexible as these, honestly, the world is kind of your oyster, Jack. I'm expecting to possibly see the Sombra come out again from the side of UNC. I would actually love to see at some point Lex Farah come out, because Lex Farah is horrifying. And in the best way possible. It is absolutely terrifying, and I would love for everybody to get to experience it firsthand if possible. It doesn't really work as well, I think, on Route 66, but would still be a fun way to go out. Donation goal raised so far, by the way, $953. Make sure to get your donations in. ! Donate in the chat will bring you up to that link, and please donate as much as you can.
That is absolutely true. We did see a little bit of Lex Farah this weekend, but I will say that surprisingly, Minshai on that Sombra once again even is a bane to Farah Mercies. And one of the matches that we saw this weekend was constantly just being kind of in the position to always hack the Farah as they were close to the ground, which was a little interesting from our side. I guess I'm a little bit more surprised at the fact that we're seeing actually Lek go on the support line. Going to be taking up the Ana as Afro and Rannoch go ahead and take to the skies on the Echo Mercy. We're going to be seeing we're going to be seeing UNC investing in the rock and roll composition, getting a little Sigma wrecking ball here on the field.
Yeah, it's a pretty classic composition actually coming out from the side of UNC right now. Looks like the names are also switched. We'll go ahead and get that fixed as quick as possible with Kaiju Core actually on the left, UNC on the right as Narcoman tries to take up some space over on the right. Getting zoned out really well though from Mixo and Spoody. This tank line is suffocating the DPS right now. Minshai only 30 to that EMP, usually up a lot quicker as Yoshi actually gets missed down first as well. So the side of UNC are going to find it incredibly hard to be able to aggress here on this fight. But as I say that, two fall from the side of Kaiju Core and two incredibly important members as well. The back line will get rezzed up, but Rannoch is in such a compromising position right now. Will still be able to get out. Yes, they will.
Oh, just barely are they going to be able to kind of hold everything together. You see Narcoman literally holding on to this tack visor and going to try to utilize it in their favor to go ahead and take care of this Echo Mercy. Not going to be able to get the Echo, but does find Rannoch in the end. Actually, we're going to see what? We see Afro going into the Mercy to bring Rannoch back into the fight. This is amazing.
The EMP also just came out in the backline, so like two different fights are happening right now and two different results are happening. UNC have come out on one, but in the other hand, Kaiju Core are coming out in the end on their own battle, with B just being the only one left on point. Afro is cleaning up right now, and what a clutch copy coming out there from Afro, actually copying onto the Mercy as soon as they know that that tack visor comes out. Afro knows that they're going to be the focus of it, immediately copies over to Mercy to give themselves an extra life and res up their own Mercy so that they can get out with the Valve. Incredible plays there from Kaiju Core.
Yeah, it was just incredibly well timed too. The fact that they were able to use the lower edge of the right side of the map to kind of keep out of the line of sight of Narcoman for a majority of that tack visor worked out well in their favor. Self-destruct going to be coming in to start things off. Not going to get the value they're looking for though.
Yeah, but Yoshi finds a pickoff while that self-destruct is out, so getting the enough space needed to try and maintain the advantage here, but the res does come through. Mist trying to take over this high ground right now as the Slam Mines comes through. Mixo trades it out though, arguably the more important pick being on Telect. However, as the Pulse Bomb comes out, Yoshi will manage to get Mist rather low here, but manages to fall rather low themselves as the Slam continuously comes through from the Wrecking Balls of each side. Mixo trying to cause a disturbance in the back on point right now, rolling through as much as possible. B with the Valkyrie going to be able to sustain the rest of the members of UNC Esports to be able to stay healthy enough for this fight, and this copy might be all for naught.
Well, they're going to try the best that they can. Gravitic Flux coming out, trying to keep them off of the objective, at least gave them enough time to allow Lect to get to the point, but it's going to be all for naught. Just wasn't enough to sustain, but they were able to shave some extra time off of that clock. 3 minutes now on the clock as they go ahead and head into the streets phase of Route 66, and a lot of high ground for them to be able to take control of.
Yeah, and it's going to take a little bit here for KaiJu Core to get back in, unfortunately, as Sybil ends up falling there on the Mercy. Has to get back onto point, and this is a lot of ground that's going to be lost here from KaiJu Core. Lect does have that nano to be able to get the players of KaiJu Core to exit a little bit easier, but there's not an incredible prime target. It might go onto one of the DPS here, actually, of KaiJu Core to try and get into this fight with Minshi's copy. Could potentially have something to say.
That's true. Seeing kind of this Echo Mercy battle is really showing the flexibility of UNC as we go ahead and see the D.Va duplicate coming out now to see if they can finally get it off the field, but a massive sleep from Lect keeps them out of the fight.
Yeah, but the minefield manages to zone Lect off of the side of the point, and the Nano D.Va actually ends up bombing. Not something you usually want to do, but it does manage to find Don Jose, so who am I to say anything as the anti-nade comes out onto the side of Soldier, and it's just cleanup now right now for the side of KaiJu Core. Spoody has to make sure that they don't get D-maxed by Yoshi. It's a falling, and Spoody is 1 HP, manages to stay in mech though, and KaiJu Core will stabilize.
Oh, just barely. I could see that Yoshisaurus was chasing it down to try to see if they could get B out of the fight, get that little stagger in there. But in close quarters, Master Swood on that break is always going to be a detriment to whatever damage or whatever character finds themselves in those close quarters. But based on what is going on right now, it seems that this is becoming a very paralleled fight, although Narcoman's going to start things off with that pick, and Don Jose with a massive Gravitic.
Wow, that was a big flux coming out there, actually. It manages to negate a lot of the healing that could have came out there from that Valkyrie. And the pulse from Yoshi, wait! This nano came through onto Yoshi, manages to find the pulse, but there's no supports to be able to sustain the rest of the side of KaiJu Core TMC. Afro does get res up though, actually copies the Mercy and reses up Rannick yet again. Sybil managing to get resurrected from their copied Echo. This is a strat that they've been consistently pulling out. Doesn't manage to work out this time, but Afro might be able to escape here and get another fight in for KaiJu Core.
I have to say, typically you don't see the Echo copying the Mercy. Like, you don't want to go for the squishy targets. You want to go for the folks that are going to sustain. But these picks are just coming in so well from Afro. Even if this last one didn't get a full amount of value, Rannick going down early though, not going to be good for this final hold on Point Bravo.
Yeah, that is a really rough pick to have happen, and it's actually going to prompt KaiJu Core to kind of just back up here entirely. There's not a lot you can do there, especially as the copy comes through from Minshy. The bomb zones people off a point. It just becomes a little bit too much of a detriment to be able to hang on to the point there. KaiJu Core going to have to reset, not with a lot of bolts either.
Yeah, it looks like going into the bunker, though, KaiJu Corp has done a very good job of just running down the time bank. That has been a big thing that we saw from them during their first matchup, is that they were successfully just kind of able to run down UNC as much as possible, despite all the picks they keep getting.
Yeah, that was a great initiation, though, from the side of KaiJu Core to kind of mitigate what you're saying. As the bomb comes through, this aggression is kind of newfound from the side of KaiJu Core. It's exactly really what they needed to bring out here from the side of KaiJu Core, realizing that this ball can be punished if they just collapse on the core. That's exactly what they do, and to stop that, Minshy immediately going over to the cast.
Yeah, we do see the tank line also going over to the Rhine Diva as well, but I don't know if that's going to do well against Mixo on this Winston, getting the Nano as well to just dole out a hack of a ton of damage with that Tesla cannon. Tickle, 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 everybody going back to spawn as they're rolling over, stomachs in pain right now. Narco Man trying to sustain, but it's not going to be enough when you got Spoody in your face. 10 seconds remaining on the clock, Tangerine, and they've got one fight left to push it all the way to Charlie.
Afro has copy to be able to try and put the final nail in the coffin here. 95% to that shatter. Only has to just passively wait here as it comes through. Will be blocked. A little bit of an MTD there coming out from the side of Don Jose, but will get taken out there by Yoshisaurus. And it's just pigs swaying through the side of Kaiju Core TMC. Afro finding 3 in that fight with the help of Mixo. This switch over to the Winston has provided so much more sustainability for the side of Kaiju Core. It just beams into this UNC Esports Varsity comp and holds them over at Choke, holds them over at Point Charlie, and puts UNC Varsity in a tight situation with Kaiju Core having a win condition now.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things that ended up allowing that switch to be as fluid as it was, but was just the fact that Lect had that Nano online. Typically, you don't want to see those late swaps unless you have a way to be able to get the ultimates of your players up to the level that the others are. I mean, it did also work out a little bit in their favor that they ended up forcing the side of UNC to also swap their tank line, but that Nano provided so much value to that fight, and there really was nothing that UNC could stop that damage from coming in. So I think they've kind of found a way to be able to hold control of this. I guess the question is, will Minshai continue to lock in this Echo, opting for the damage over the CC that comes with the Sombra we've been seeing them on?
Yeah, that is a really good question, isn't it, Jack? And honestly, I have to say the swaps that just came through there last minute from Kaiju Core, as well as the read, knowing the fact that UNC Esports Varsity would not have enough ultimates to be able to realistically retake an overly aggressive fight there from Kaiju Core. So Mixo just goes in over aggressive with the Nano, and even though Mixo loses their life, it still manages to turn the fight in the favor of Kaiju Core because there's no ults to turn it for the side of UNC. Right now, just a bunch of poke coming through. Kaiju Core running off of the same comp they ran on defense to start.
Yeah, and I mean, it definitely can work out well in their favor, but it's going to be a lot of stuns coming out between Mix and Don Jose. If that Hulk finds Mixo at any point during the roll through, it's going to really shut it down quick. But the roll through does find 3. Unfortunately, UNC is going to trade back.
Yeah, the counter dive that came through there onto the back line of Kaiju Core was really tough to deal with. Lek does manage to find a pick, though, in kind of the midst of this. Lek doesn't manage to get out with their life, though, which is the unfortunate part. If Lek had gotten out with their life there, maybe there's something they can do once the spawns come back from Kaiju Core, but Spoody's D-Mech is going to be even worse here. This is going to be tragic, Jack.
Yeah, that's going to be the hard part right there. Spoody's going to have to go for the hard reset, which is going to waste at least 20 seconds total off of that. And we're going to see Mixo just going in for another roll through, or at least get a little damage. And they're coming up on that minefield that's going to help zone the high ground, or at least zone the objective in their favor. But right now, UNC with this double shield is doing a great job of kind of holding on to Big Earls. And even if some of their players find themselves on the low ground, they end up finding a lot of value.
Yeah, but that was such a good setup that came out there from Kaiju Core, attacking from 3 different angles as the minefield comes through from Mixo, blocking off the healers from point. There was such a well-executed dive from Kaiju Core. It was set up in so many different angles, and they just completely collapsed on UNC Varsity. My lord, that was textbook, and only had to use the minefield, I think, to get it.
I just love the ending of that, where Mixo was essentially jumping over Don Jose's shots. Like you were seeing a little bit of what do they call it, the Mexican standoff. If you're an oldie like me, you'll remember it from The Mask, where the enemy's just kind of shooting at the feet of Jim Carrey, and he's just dodging every bullet while putting off a good tango. That's exactly what we were seeing from Mixo. Everything is looking incredibly fluid, but once again, that early pick on Duranok, that's just going to hurt their chances of being able to push relatively far here. Thankfully, with them still at the choke, they're going to be able to hopefully get that Mercy back.
Oh no! Oh, that's kind of rough actually. Afro manages to just get the rock out and cancels the Flux that came out there from Mist. This is so rough as Mix-Up finds the pick also on the Narco Man. The Flux is huge from Afro. Afro is having the echo game of their life. He is just mowing down the competition right now of UNC as the Tac Visor comes out, puts the rest of UNC to rest as Point Bravo is going swiftly in the way of Kaiju.
Wow, I did not expect that aggressive turn right there. Not only was Afro able to get the shutdown, but onto Don Jose, which they are now swapping over to the traditional dive, but just the absolute value of that duplicate Gravitic gave so much value to this, and now they're heading into what could be this match fight once they get in here with probably almost 4 minutes to spare.
Yeah, UNC just kind of had to throw bodies here at the side of Kaiju Core, honestly. It's really an unfortunate situation to be in with these wholesale swaps that just came out from UNC. They have to try and get a point in here before the fight ends so they can get some ultimate charge and force out some ultimates from Kaiju Core. Otherwise, they'd had to deal with that minefield over on this last push, and that would have been impossible to deal with. So Mist actually going back over onto the ball, going to see if they can contest the members of Kaiju Core early as they come to point. Sybil does have that Valk to be able to use. I spoke a little bit too soon there though, Jack. Sybil actually ends up falling there incredibly fast, and the bomb from Spoody is going to clear some people off of point. But Kaiju Core are managing to keep this in their grasp. They have the picks. It is only one person left on point, in fact, and Master Swood falls. It's a quick, swift win there from the side of Kaiju Core as they manage to capture the point and manage to even up the scoreline. 1 run right now in this series.
That was... I'm just, like, beside myself, Tangerine, at how swift that was compared to what we saw on Control. It just seemed like Kaiju Corp just had UNC read like a book. When it came to every play that was coming out. Sure, the first push is always 50-50, right? You don't have ultimates on the field. Sometimes you get a lucky pick to start things off. Sometimes you get shut down early. But after that first fight, it was just Kaiju Corp unleashing the monster all the way through there. The aggressiveness that we continued to see from Mixo and Afro throughout the entirety of that Route 66 offense is just something to really behold in this level of Overwatch play. And now we are truly on match point, and based on what we just saw, I think it's anybody's game.
Yeah, honestly, it's really anybody's game, but a lot of that came down, honestly, to Afro's rock that came out onto Mist on second point. It completely just demolished the ultimate economy of UNC. They needed that Flux to find some value to stop the aggression that was coming up from Kaiju Core so that they couldn't get set up in any more aggressive positions. Afro was in such an incredible position with that Sigma copy that ended up coming through there onto Point Bravo, and they managed to just swing it back around. One singular accretion sealed the deal pretty much for the rest of that entire map, as UNC just had to swap right after that. Couldn't manage to find any more ults to try and hold on to point C or to the last part of point B. And now, look where we are, 1-1 in the series. It looks like deja vu, honestly, Jack.
That is true. Exactly what we saw yesterday during those semifinals. We do want to let you know that we did get another $30 donation from an anonymous source, bringing us up to $983. We are $17 away from our $1,000 goal, folks. And personally, I would love to see if we can hit that $1,000 during this final map to really just kind of lock in the finals and just see how far that we can go. For those of us here in the US right now, it might seem odd, that we're doing a tournament like this when there is a war going on in our world today. But doing what we can at this point, using our talents, our time, and our money to go ahead and support those in need is always a great way to show your support. So be sure to hit that exclamation point and donate. Fill out the form below as well to let us know that you got that donation in. And Tangerine, I am surprised because we are heading back to Control.
Yeah, this is actually interesting. I will say, though, that UNC did look like the better Control team, if I'm being completely honest, just by the way that they were able to mangle with Kaiju Core's Focus Fire, thanks to Minshai's Sombra. And it looks like it's going to be the same thing again as we both roll up here onto Sanctum for the last map of the series. Will Kaiju Core be able to win this out and move up, take revenge on UNC? It's going to start off with an early pick on the Afro, so we'll see.
Yeah, Afro just got caught a little bit out of position here as we see Spooty just sitting there looking for Minshai as they were going in with the beautiful hold hook coming in from Mixo. Master Swid, though, not a fan of that. Gonna go ahead and find Sybil and send them on over the side. We are going to see things tied up, though. Yoshisaurus and Spooty locking in those picks. Minshai is back in the fight, and the point is unlocked, but nobody has made their way to the point yet. And Afro just bringing it right on back. It's a battle between Lect on the Zen and Master Swid, who I think is just gonna head back to their allies as Kaiju Core takes control of the Sanctum.
Yeah, UNC had the right idea there to try and seclude the sniper early, but Kaiju Core, Spooty was literally just like playing
switch.
Solo queue. Yeah, I don't really know what Spooty was doing, but it worked so incredibly well. Like, it was insane, this hidden hog play. I didn't even realize actually the hog was behind the team. I thought that UNC had a hog for a second, and I was very confused. But the hack comes out onto Spooty and just gets completely eviscerated. So UNC did the exact same thing that they did to Afro, except they just did it to Spooty, which honestly, in my opinion, is a much bigger pickoff anyway. Leaving away a lot of that space, B using the coalescence to take it back, but Mixo pulls someone off the map? That is insane. The Reaper just gets pulled off the map there. Lex Transcendence will be forced for the side of Kaiju Core, but a lot of ultimates have been gathered up for the side of Kaiju Core for this next fight. UNC gonna try and force point, but it's met with Afro's Dragon, and B will fall, but missed! It's moved off the map by Spooty's whole hog, and the bomb only finds Lex. UNC are not gonna be able to flip this point. Kaiju Core are gonna keep ramping up the percentage.
I gotta say, I am continually blown away by the strategies that we're seeing, because UNC are utilizing their strategies fluidly, right? Being able to get that first pick onto Spooty, Master Swid using the speed boost to kind of collapse in on a composition that isn't incredibly mobile. And now this EMP to start things off. Let's see if, oh!
That is insane. Minshai gets picked out there. It does. The EMP managed to get through, though, so Mixo does end up falling. The abilities were out there for a little bit from the side of Kaiju Core, not able to use their ultimates, but they could hear as Yoshi ends up trying to cover up these extremities with the Molten Core. Mist trying to eat up whatever they can as Spooty gets the hook. The window covers the side of point and completely puts UNC under the pressure cooker right now as the mech from Mist goes down, courtesy of the support line of Kaiju Core. Lect has that Transcendence to be able to work with as well, as Kaiju Core work their way back around to point. The beat comes out from Master Swid, as the Bongo also comes out from Kaiju Core. Spooty manages to fall, traded out though as the Dragon pinches everybody out from underneath here. Afro doing so well with these ultimates as well, but it's anybody's game right now, Jack. This is so chaotic.
is literally a battle for the ages right now, as we're seeing B and Don Jose trying to hold on, but it's the Mixo and Sybil show as they just hold the line here on the objective. The point did end up flipping, and now it's UNC going to the time-old tradition of just stalling out to the best of their ability. We do see the swap over of Afro onto the Doomfist, and that's going to be enough to threaten and clear the point 100 to 43. Kaiju Corps are not ready to go into that good night as they take the Sanctum.
Pure chaos, Jack. That was just pure chaos, if I'm being completely honest. And Kaiju Corps actually pulling out a really interesting strat there, moving Spoody over to the Roadhog, I think was actually pivotal. I can't believe I'm saying this, to the win there for Kaiju Corps. Not only did they kind of throw a wrench into the plans of UNC by getting that early hook, but it also negates a lot of the problems that Kaiju Corps were having originally with this UNC roster, which was the splitting that was happening with the Sombra and the Ball completely messing up the team composition of Kaiju Corps. Now that they have that Hog, it's not as easy.
Yeah, I mean, that was really one of the biggest issues, was that Sombra, and typically you wouldn't think that the Roadhog is the pick to go with, but the way that Spoody was just utilizing that, kind of being the odd man out in a lot of positions, just to be able to pick that Sombra off when they were attempting to flank, just worked out very well for them. We do see this double shield coming out from UNC, using the Symmetra to try to hold control of this objective. It's kind of working out a little bit in their favor already, that level 3 beam here, but UNC has a lot of damage coming out, as does Kaiju Corp, as we see UNC take the point.
I think UNC might have been actually expecting that double shield to come out again, considering they rolled out onto the Sombra, but easy switch adaptations came through, really sealed the deal there for the side of UNC to be able to get onto this point. Now they have control of the point with the city.
Yeah, I mean, the Symmetra is going to be the ideal here. Yoshiosaurus and Minshai are really kind of being the bane to each other's existence right now, as we saw that Tracer battle. And with Yoshi's success with the Immortality field down early, though, we see the flip.
That is unfortunate. B's window just completely shuts down Yoshisaurus as Afro finds the pick. The trades onto the DPS line comes out, but Afro's copy is a massive, massive thing that happened. The pit from downtown. B cannot even comprehend what just happened there as the shadow comes through and Afro just lays waste to the entire backline of UNC by literally pinning right into it.
Yeah, I mean, well, when you have a single hero for 15 seconds, you kind of do throw all caution to the wind a little bit. So normally I would advise against a charge like that, but when you know you've got essentially a 500 health, a beat kind of holding you together, then there's no issue whatsoever. And the cleanup is just coming in strong from Kaiju right now.
Yeah, Kaiju did have to use 2 ultimates, I think, to be able to take that, though. It was good from UNC to be able to force out the ultimates, but the Flux did prompt out a couple of ultimates. Minshai actually using this Pulse Bomb, though, does even that out from the side of Kaiju Corps. They're getting a lot of percentage here. They just have to make sure that they make use of this minefield.
Oh, what?
I don't even know how that happened.
I think Lect was just like barely around that corner to be able to get the sleep onto Don Jose. That is intense.
Oh no, this backline's under so much pressure. Lect is not going to be able to probably survive this engagement. Wait, but they're just wrapping them around. They're completely playing right now with the side of UNC. They've just baited them completely into this corner with Lect. The TP finds no value as Yoshi and Afro are just a complete thorn in the side right now of UNC, pinching right now on the members, and Lect was the only one to fall there.
At the end of the day, the only thing that UNC is finding value in right now is Don Jose. The Shatter is online, and there is no shields in there for them to utilize. But with Mist going down early, it's gonna be hard for them to hold on.
Jose trying to use the Shatter to even up the fight, but it's Yoshi. Saurus with the copy coming
Wow.
through. Afro in the pocket to be able to seal the deal. The copy on the cast comes through from Afro. The Deadeye will be able to zone players off a point from the side of UNC. 99 right now for the side of Kaiju Core. Only 48 for UNC as the cleanup picks come through. Kaiju Core still have 4 ultimates to be able to use too, even if the fight wasn't going into their direction. Kaiju Core pull out the revenge sweep and will manage to reverse sweep UNC Esports and take revenge on them for beating them in the upper bracket, and will move on to the grand finals.
I am just... Where did this Kaiju team come from? I gotta be honest. This is just insane to see this direct turnaround after what we saw on Oasis. It just seemed like it was going to be a lot closer than what this turned out to be. But Kaiju here on Nepal just seemed very comfortable, had strategy in hand to be able to deal with Minshai. It almost was like they baited out that particular composition because they're like, okay, we know you're going to use that, so we already have a plan that we're going to utilize, but we'll only use it if we end up going back to control. And it's unfortunate because I think UNC was just attempting to try to end this early and seeing if, because they were so successful on Oasis, that, you know, if they just pick control, you know, they're able to take the quick picks and be able to go in that direction. But remember, control swings both ways. If the other team is getting those quick picks as well, then they're going to be able to take the win just as quickly. So unfortunate to see UNC go down at this point, but seeing Kaiju Core, literally the Goliath from the lower bracket, coming back to life, is now going to face off against the Crumplers. If I remember correctly, I believe we're essentially looking at, I gotta find our SR averages that we collected at the beginning of this. For those of you that don't know, Crumplers are our first seed when it comes to SR. We did talk a little bit about this last night, but Yamitra, one of their players, is a previous Contenders player. We saw them on Drifters as they were making their climb during the 2021 season, as are some of their other players have that kind of experience. But Kaiju is our 6th seed at 3.3k average. So that's a 700 SR gap, folks. A 700 SR gap. It was already 400 between them and UNC. And if Kaiju is this well polished coming in today, Crumplers might actually have a huge challenge on their hands that they were not expecting.
They really might, because that did not look like a 400 SR disparity game, if I'm completely honest. For those last 2 maps, you could have made the argument, actually, that you saw the 400 SR disparity on the other side of things. So this is going to be a really interesting matchup, I think, coming out here. The 6th SR team versus the 1st SR team. But this Kaiju Core roster has just been mopping the floor lately, it seems, with these matches. Only losing to UNC, only to now beat UNC, and now they have that drive, they have that momentum to keep carrying them. They're warmed up, they're ready to go, they've already played 3 maps. This is going to be a banger. I'm not going to lie, Jack. I'm really excited to see this one.
I'm excited as well, Tangerine. We are still sitting, I believe, let me go ahead and check everything. I don't believe we've gotten any new donations in. Doesn't look like we have. So we're still sitting at that $983, $17 away from our goal, folks. Hit that exclamation donate in the chat be sure to use the lower link as well to let us know that you donated. And we're going to go ahead and send it to a quick break so that we can go ahead and get the teams ready, get ourselves some water as well. You are not going to want to miss the conclusion of this Crumplers versus Kaiju Corp. It's going to be amazing. We'll be right back with more of this Overwatch charity tournament. Welcome back, Overwatch fans, to the grand finals of the Global Giving Overwatch Charity Tournament. And boy, howdy, is it going to be an amazing matchup. But first, we do have to get to the matter at hand and celebrate before we head into these grand finals, because we have hit our goal and we are starting to surpass it. Couple of shout outs here. UNC donating the final $17 to get us to 1,000. Shout out in memory of Lect. Going with the meme from yesterday. Lect also donating $20, $10 for the Torb 1v1 loss, and $10 for the play of the game that they got. And then an additional $20 donation from Felix Felicis. Saying thank you to the organizers for putting on such a great event, and let's go Tengu's Money Crew. So I am just absolutely beside myself. I definitely do want to give a shout out to all the folks that have made this possible. For those of you that don't know, this was organized by those that also organized a Community for a Better ABK Overwatch tournament that we put on back in December of 2021. Want to give a shout out to Lunacare, Lore, Kothar, Hippie, and Refused, who have been working tirelessly behind the scenes. You all are absolutely amazing in the work that you do for our community, and I know that some people are participating, have been participating in other tournaments and whatnot. You know, they're going for that bag. But for those of you teams that decided to be here with us, helping us raise money for an amazing cause, thank you for taking the time and talents out of your weekend to be able to share those with us. Because I mean, even though we're at the grand finals and these matches are the cream of the crop, this weekend has been filled with amazing matches, some that have just kind of come out of nowhere. I mean, if we talk about Nevi Aurora, that literally made the lower bracket run all the way to the losers semifinals. I mean, there have been some amazing teams that have taken the time to be part of this tournament, and we appreciate all the work that you did to help us reach our goal. But we're not done yet, Tangerine. We still got a grand finals, and just because we reached our goal doesn't mean we have to stop raising money for an amazing cause. So be sure to hit that exclamation donate in the chat and continue to give to Global Giving. As we go ahead and start off, it looks like we are heading to Hollywood to get our first match underway.
Yup, Hollywood it is, and what an interesting matchup this is going to be. As you highlighted prior, Captain Jack, there is a high SR disparity between these two teams, but there was a high SR disparity between the last match too, and they managed to take it pretty convincingly in the last two maps. So this could be potentially anybody's game coming out here, and Hollywood is definitely a way to start out. It's a map that honestly you could play a good amount of different compositions on and manage to find a heavy amount of success with whatever you choose to run, so long as you manage to run it carefully. I have to say, it's definitely one of those maps when I think of Overwatch, I think of honest Overwatch happening. You're going for the counters, you're always trying to counter your opponent, continuously be switching up the comp, because whatever works on this map just works on this map. And we're gonna have to see which team manages to pull out all of the stops and manages to use their heads a little bit more.
That's absolutely true, Tangerine. But I do believe, since we have hit our goal, I do have to unleash the beast here for a moment. So give me a moment. I'm thinking of Junkertown. I'm thinking of crazy metal all over the place. I'm thinking of lots of treasure. Hello, everybody, and welcome to this amazing tournament. We're heading into Hollywood. Let's go ahead and see how these teams are going to be able to play together. Maybe things will get a little explodey.
This is exactly what I've been waiting for all day, everyone. The Jackrat is finally out, and this will be an epic banger of a matchup that's going to be coming up. Jackrat, I have to ask you a question here.
Yes.
Which team do you think would be more likely here to pull out your expertise? Who would be more likely to kind of go into your direction? Maybe make things a little bit more, how would you put it again?
Well, I do love things of the explosive nature. We've been seeing a lot of that coming out from Lect this weekend that I think has been absolutely amazing. We saw a little bit yesterday where there was a Far Mercy shooting rockets at us from the sky, but Lect utilized Junkrat to just get in there with the concussion mines and blow them to sky high and be able to successfully take that map. But the Crumplers have noticed that have the ability to migrate onto characters of that as well, although we've been seeing them play a little bit at the high level of Overwatch. We are going to be seeing a new player come in that I don't believe that we've seen this week, and Misflet coming in on the Tracer with Tiny Brain, opting for the Ash, a little explosion with that dynamite. Gonna be a lot of fun. Kaiju Core, though, opting for that Wrecking Ball Diva Rush. Wrecking Ball, if you didn't know, is actually the Junkertown champion, so I'm sure they're gonna be rocking and rolling and blowing all sorts of stuff up.
Yeah, absolutely. And somebody else that's actually rolled in here for this last map is actually Tengu himself. For TMC. It's where they get the T in their name. Tengu rolling up right now as Mixo rolls up for the dive, trying to stuff the players right now of the Crumplers at choice. Hugh manages to get Slepso immediately on the dive and is just completely wiped away from planet Earth as Yoshisaurus finds the pick there with this heavy anti-dive comp that comes out from the side of Kaiju Core.
There's a lot of value coming in from the long distance play of the Crumplers, although they're doing really well to hold on to this objective thus far. Even though they don't have a stationary point, it's going to be up to Mixo to really be pushing everyone back. And Yoshisaurus just sitting there with the Torm turret is absolutely annihilating everyone that's touching the point.
This is an absolute slaughter right now, actually, coming out there from Yoshisaurus. That was an insane flick that came out there from a Torbjorn of all players to take out Tiny Brain in the Crumplers comp. And now only Mephit and Dimitra have these ultimates to be able to commit in onto point as the dive comes through, takes them out of Cafe. Tengu's been just getting bullied throughout this entire encounter. Spoody needs to get the nano here to try and sustain the rest of Kaiju Core TMC on point. The bomb could potentially be invested, but it's actually the Volt Core force first as the bubble goes away from Andy Taco and does not manage to find as much value though as they could from Spoody's bomb. The grab did confuse me a bit there, but the Crumplers are going to be able to manage to take point.
Yeah, I think the use of the Graviton Surge was just to try to see if they could grab Spoody before the remake, but Spoody had actually rotated around a different way, so the Graviton didn't get the value that it was looking for. Unfortunately, that beam that's coming out from Andy Taco just melts down all the metal of Spoody's mech. This is going to be able to clear the objective. A very nice 420 on the clock as the Crumplers go ahead and take objective Alpha and start moving their way, Primal Rage in hand, into the backline to take down Afro.
Oh, poor Afro. Afro or Lect are not going to be able to get their in for this fight early. This allows the Crumplers to be able to take high ground and completely take control as well from the side of Kaiju Core TMC. Mixo is going to have the hefty job now of relocating this Crumplers comp to get these supports off of the high ground as quick as possible. Spoody's going to be the first tank, though, to try and contest there, but the bubble came out early. It just gets punished for it.
Yes, with the bubble coming out early, that pulse bomb had a beautiful range to make everything explodey. As we go ahead and see Mix on this high ground, now a minefield, lots of explodies all over the objective right now. It's gonna take a little bit for the Crumblers to clear things out, but I think they're going to have to reset in the spawn if they want to find their way back to the objective.
Yeah, the minefield from Mixo there definitely split off the rest of the side of the Crumplers and made it almost impossible for them to try and follow up on anything that they were doing in the rest of that fight. But Tiny Brain has this Bob to invest. Andy Taco with the grab as well. This could be a really easy fight here from the Crumplers if Lek can't get value with this nano quick.
That is true. We do see the Dragon Strike online for Afro. It's not exploding, but it puts people to death just as easily. The Dragon Strike comes out and finds Yamitra, and the Molten Core keeps it locked down so the Crumplers can't make their way through. Kaiju Corp setting up a very good defense here on Objective Bravo.
Quick, simple, and easy from the side there of Kaiju Core, Tengu's Money Crew. Lex still has this nano to be able to use as well, but if you are Kaiju Core, you might even be thinking about just going in for a dry fight if you take into consideration all of the ultimates that the Crumplers have in their arsenal. And it looks like the Crumplers are going to try and relocate up here onto this high ground, but Hugh gets booped away from Spoody and Slept. The most ultimate anti-dive coming out there from the side of Kaiju Core.
That is true. As we go ahead and see Kaiju Core setting up on this high ground, the Crumplers have realized that they have to take control of it if they want to be able to push through this choke, and almost getting the pick there on Tengu. Oh, Hugh going down early is not going to be a good start for them.
Nope, not at all, and Tengu's still got it as Tiny Brain takes out Afro, evening up the score right now. Kaiju Core TMC will be able to stabilize, though, as they try and get back here. The Crumplers will have to get a little bit of cart space, though, in order to do it. Mephit looking for this pulse right now. Lekt is under so much pressure, the sleep doesn't quite hit, and so much pressure coming out on Spoony as well, who has to deal with the fact that this pulse bomb could come out at any moment, but Lekt falls, and Tengu gets battered into a corner with a Primal Rage. He finds two, actually. That rhymes. And as it does, the Crumplers manages to cap one.
What an absolutely beautiful display there from the Crumplers. I don't know if everyone saw it there on the high ground, but Mixo was not only coach gunned away, but then slept by Yamitra and was literally shoved all the way to the other side of the high ground, being out of the range to be able to help out any of their team. And right now, the Crumplers are getting legendary as they just continue to push in and dominate Kaiju Corp.
Yeah, dominate Kaiju Core right now is definitely the name of the game. They are just taking up as much space as they can, and they have the ability to be able to do this because a lot of the bubble usage that's coming out from Andy Taco is keeping Hugh in these fights for so much longer than they potentially could be. But Yoshisaurus has this Molten Core and has made such good use of it throughout this series. We're going to see if it can happen again as it litters over the point, and Afro's Dragon comes out in correspondence with that as the rally from C2D2 keeps everybody healthy, though, from the side of the Crumplers. Even trades and picks come out, though, from each side as Andy Taco has this grab to be able to throw in. Won't be met, though, without the bomb coming out. The grab is huge! The grab, in fact, gets 4 people locked within it. No supportal comes out in time. Tengu was out of the fight at that current moment, and the train does nothing.
Yeah, unfortunately, the Transcendence was a little too late, but even so, Andy Taco with that full charge makes such beautiful explosions with that alternate fire into that Graviton, and there we go, a pulse bomb send it right past Afro into Tengu's face as they swap over to the Lucio. No speed boost for you on point.
Yeah, this is really good, though, from the side of Kaiju Core. The Nano actually managed to find a few picks off of the back of it. If members can stay alive here from the side of Kaiju Core, this could potentially be possible. But the focus fire that's coming out from the side of the Crumplers is just too great. The shot calling is immaculate from the side of the Crumplers, and even with the Primal Rage coming out from Mixo, it's going to be difficult for Kaiju Core to be able to stabilize fully on this point as the Crumplers have fully gotten their members back onto point. Afro gets the pick, but it's going to be all for naught, as the Crumplers managed to cap and finish Hollywood, in fact, with time.
Yes, that's incredibly unfortunate there, Tangerine. You can see that Yoshisaurus was sitting there waiting to be able to get into that back line and build up that pulse bomb so they can make another beautiful destructive explosion onto possibly Yumitra or any of the other members that were sitting there forced to be on card to try to push it in. But thankfully, with them having time on the clock, they'll at least have a minute or so remaining to be able to fight again if they end up getting to Objective Charlie. But right now, Kaiju Corp have been showing to put on an incredible defense to be able to fight them back. And the thing that I'm really looking for here, Tangerine, is to see if possibly if there a way for Crumplers to be able to shut them down at point alpha. Because if they end up going for a similar defensive strategy, when you're doing kind of that anti-dive back to the enemy team, it's really hard to kind of sustain on the point. That double bubble can work out very well, and we were seeing a lot of good work out of the Zarya player Andy Taco. But if they are left alone on point, there's only so many bubbles that can help you with all the absolutely explosive things that Kaiju Core can do. And it looks like Afro is going back to a traditional instead of getting explodey. They're getting sharp as they come in on the Genji with Lect and a Nano Blade to boot.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest, I'm a little bit confused by this comp that's coming out though right now from the side of Kaiju Core TMC. And Mixo is just getting slept, bullied. Yoshisaurus manages to fall incredibly quick, unfortunately, and this just goes into shambles from the side of Kaiju Core Tengu's money crew. This Lucio doesn't really mesh incredibly well with the rest of the team comp. I can kind of see some fragments of what this comp is supposed to be. However, there might be a different way to execute it, I feel like.
Yeah, I'm not 100% certain what they're going for here, and it also again has to go to that successful utilization of the team composition to be able to focus on one enemy. Misflet already finding the pick onto Yoshisaurus, but Afro able to get that trade right there onto Hugh will make it an even 5v5 fight. Misflet on that high ground is really being a thorn in the side in the back of Kaiju Core, but it looks like they're going to be able to possibly take this objective as the Nano gets invested onto Spoonie. Lots of explosive rockets coming out of the front of that mech. The Primal Rage has to be invested by Hugh to be able to push back into the point as Lex gets taken down. Pulse Bomb coming in from Mifflin onto Mixo, but they're not dead yet. And that comes the cleanup from the Crumplers. One tick on the objective, but already 2 minutes off of the clock.
Yeah, and I can kind of understand a little bit why Tengu has gone over actually to the Lucio here. It seems to be so that they can protect Lect a lot more easily. But yeah, I was just about to say, you could go over to the Brig and you would probably be able to get similar results with that while still maintaining this rally that could potentially come out from the Brig, and it would still be doing the exact same thing with the composition. Hugh, however, gets very over-aggressive into the side of Kaiju Core TMC, and this is going to be an opening for them as well as a minefield that could potentially come out played from Afro. Does get grabbed up though, and the Crumplers are managing to sustain this so well. Kaiju Core invested 3 ultimates.
That is absolutely unfortunate there. Kaiju Corp had so much potential to be able to push into that, but unfortunately, there was just too much for them to handle. I'm actually a little surprised that Mixo used the minefield, but if they were planning to swap anyway, then I guess I can understand that. Didn't get any explodey value out of that, but now this brawl-ish composition is going to make for some pain. Pulse Bomb getting eaten by Foodie, though. That's going to be a good start for Kaiju Core.
Yeah, this is interesting. Actually not choosing to run the Reinhardt with the Lucio here, but the Nano boost that comes out on the Mixo, it just makes this Reinhardt completely invincible for the most part and takes so much space up from the side of Kaiju Core. Now the Crumplers have to try and fight back into this, and while Andy Taco has a lot of charge, they don't have any way to be able to crack through this choke point in Cafe. And Kaiju Core, while they're not winning the fight right now anymore, they still manage to cap first point and still have 3 minutes to try and cap the second.
That is true, and as you can see, the Crumplers are not very happy about losing Objective Alpha and are getting super aggressive into the new spawn of Kaiju Corp as we go ahead and see them lock down this cafe and lots of ultimates online. Things are about to get a little spicy.
Yeah, things are going to get spicy indeed, and the spice starts with Tengu's rally. As Kaiju Corps tries to aggress into this early, it's the grab from Andy Taco to try and mitigate some of the damage that comes out, but Afro is not letting any damage get mitigated, finding a pick onto both C2D2 and Mephit. This is a wonderful start here for the side of Kaiju Corps TMC as they wrap it up over in Cafe, completely congesting and suffocating the players of the Crumplers. Going to try and move this throughout second point even more.
2 minutes remaining on the clock. Kaiju Corps has a lot of value already in their swapped composition. Afro with that Deadeye might be able to well zone that high ground if they don't get booped off of it by that Primal Rage. That's not going to be a good positioning for them now, but they've almost got Objective Bravo.
Yeah, unfortunately, it does mean though that Kaiju Corps give up the high ground for this next push, and with the Pulse Bomb, it's something that you really don't want to do, and this is exactly why the Shadow is huge! Oh my god! Mixo is pulled out all of the stops, gets Nano 2. This bomb is not going to do as much as maybe you would think it would, simply because of this Nano that comes out from Mixo, completely dominates the Crumplers and everything that they have in their arsenal. As Kaiju Corps TMC going to be able to take second point here rather convincingly, actually.
And they just got to be able to get that Tracer off of the point, and there it is. They're able to lock in Objective Bravo. 2:30 remaining on the clock. As long as they have that extra time to be able to push into Objective Charlie, if they keep it over a minute, well, actually, it doesn't matter how much time they have remaining on the clock. As long as they have time, then it's going to work out very well in their favor. With 2:15 now as they push into what could be the final full fight for the Crumplers to defend. They have to put themselves in a position to be successful here, or it's going to be a trickle onto point.
Yeah, the rally comes out early though. Oh my god, Mixo, you cannot keep doing this to people. It's actually just like it's too much at this point. I don't think we can show that on stream anymore. It's TOS at this point. Yoshisaurus falls first in the fight though, despite the heroic efforts that come out there from Mixo, but Hugh does get picked off, and this is the opening that Kaiju Corps needed. Even though Yoshisaurus is not in the fight, will be able to sprint back as quick as possible, and Spoody trying to make some room right now, spots the Tracer and manages to find the pick.
We go ahead and see the Bob now invested into the fight. They're going to be able to lock down this point right now. Big E coming in from Spoody to take out that Graviton Surge very early on. But the Crumplers are going to be able to push back there. A minute remaining and 69 meters on the point. It's only going to take one fight, but it has to be a decisive one from Kaiju Corps.
Yeah, decisive indeed it has to be, but Lecta's been getting so much value with these nano boosts off onto Mixo that it's crazy. Really what's going to come down to is this Ryan v Ryan nano battle, and both teams are intending not to use the Lucio here. This is going to be a main tank battle for the ages as Mixo tries to collapse over onto the Brig and is indeed successful. The rally advantage coming out from Tengu is going to keep Kaiju Corps TMC so much healthier throughout this fight, but Mixo gets stranded. The Shatter gets blocked by Tengu though! Don't need a Reinhardt to be able to save the rest of the team from the Shatter. No, but Tengu gets left hung up to dry as the bomb plows through Kaiju Corps. Only 20 seconds to be able to touch the point.
That was a huge investment there. The Crumplers only having the Graviton and the Pulse Bomb available can make a huge big bang. But with Hugh going down early, ooh, the trade onto Spoody there with the Dynamite. This 5v5 fight could be it.
The nade is huge though. Oh no, Andy Taco with the grab, got eaten last time, but now the eat was just not able to come through, and since there's no supportals, the anti-nade gets so much value there for the side of the Crumplers. It was so winnable, Kaiju Corps Tengu Money Crew, but they just can't quite squeeze it out in the end. But what an insane map that was to start out this series, Jack. Heroic efforts coming up from both teams.
Yeah, and look at this. This was that ending right there. Oh, okay. Whew, all right. Oh man, it took a little bit, but I reeled him back in there. I hope you all enjoyed a little bit of the chaos that I hold within me during these casts. You wonder how I'm so energetic without using any stimulants. That's what's keeping me going. But nevertheless, Crumplers have shown that there's a reason that they were already sitting in the grand finals spot. The strategy, the flanking maneuvers that they were possibly that they were continually able to use on Kaiju Core worked out very well in their favor, and Kaiju became kind of a little distracted when it came to kind of who they were focusing on. There didn't seem to be a lot of coordination at certain points. The points that they were able to push through, you could tell that they were really kind of focusing their efforts, but there were times that they kind of just got tunnel visioned on their own targets. As you just saw right there, we did get another $100 anonymous donation, bringing us up to $11.49, folks. Let us go ahead and keep going. I know I promised that I would continue the voice for every $100 that we got, but I'll go ahead and refrain, because it seems like some people, they're here for the Overwatch play, they're not here for my really bad Junkrat voice. But you know what, I'll go ahead and maybe after we're done here, I'll make some TikToks or whatnot that you can see on my Twitter and enjoy that voice a little bit more. But nevertheless, it looks like we're heading back to Route 66 here, Tangerine, for our next match.
Yeah, and why not go back to it? Honestly, if you're on the side of Kaiju Core TMC, they seem to have that attack down completely pat. Their defenses, too, even with the ball comp, worked incredibly well for the side of Kaiju Core. But as you were talking about incentives earlier, yes, we did hit 1,000. And of course, I will be doing my incentive as well. After this match, my Twitter and other socials will be updated, including my Twitch, where I will be doing a stream this week. For this exact reason, and I will be updating all of my profile pictures to pictures of me as a little baby. There are some of me eating Cheerios. There are some of me, I don't even know. We're gonna see exactly what I get sent over here, and we're gonna put up the most ridiculous ones that I can find, and I'll keep it up there for a whole month. So stay tuned for that over on my Twitter. Very excited to get to do that. But back to the game. Like you said, Route 66 was indeed chosen. And Kaiju Core TMC, I'm actually interested to see if they decide to run something different here now that they have Tengu on the squad. It seems like they've been running some interesting comps coming into it, and I think a lot of it could potentially just have to do with it is a charity tournament. They are trying to have a lot of fun coming into it. Tengu locking in on the Lucio really has been playing this game for a long time. He just wants to enjoy it as much as possible. I can see exactly where they're coming from, and they're still putting up an incredible fight while they're at it too. So more entertainment for us, and they're putting up an incredible fight. So
yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, it is for the charity that we are doing this for. But honestly, I think that Kaiju Corp did an incredible job of how they were playing. They just kind of lost focus here and there. And, you know, I could admit that swapping in a player that wasn't warmed up definitely could hurt you this late in the game. But, you know, Tengu was doing a great job as well. As we go ahead and look at the setups for both teams, Crumplers continuing to stick on this Wrecking Ball Diva composition that has worked so well for them during this tournament. Kaiju Core looking to match that as they go onto the attack to start things off. And once again, we're going to be seeing that Echo battle in the sky. But Tengu is going to give a little bit of support to Afro, and that might turn the tide against the Crumplers. Echo.
Yeah, but unfortunately Tengu is not going to be able to offer that same support over to his other support as Lekt falls incredibly early on in this fight, thanks to an early dive coming out there from Hugh, Mephit, and Tiny Brain. Managing to find picks left, right, and center. Mephit actually goes down here, and there's no res on the side of the Crumplers. In fact, very little healing in general from this Crumplers comp, and it's something that Kaiju Core can take advantage of.
That is true. As they go ahead and create the space that is needed right now, the only issue that Kaiju is going to have with this is that the Crumplers are also using an incredibly mobile composition. So it's not about bumping people off of the high ground to try to take advantage of getting picks. You have to get the picks, as we are seeing here. Crumplers are able to fight back relatively well with this high ground advantage. Tiny Brain just landing loose in the back line on this Tracer, just decimating the support line here, able to go ahead and grab that double kill and push Kaiju back to spawn. It looks like Kaiju gonna have to find that inner monster once again if they're gonna want to push past this defense.
Yeah, and this is a good fight to do it with too. Jack Afro has his copy, Tengu has the Valkyrie. This combination could be lethal. Afro copies over onto the D.Va to give them an incredible amount of space. This bomb can zone so many people off from the side of the Crumplers, and you can see that cart is moving so quick. Bomb lobbed way into the back, and the copy is actually taken out though by Hugh's minefield that was set up in the back, splitting the support line from this frontline aggression coming out from the copy. Beeflet has this copy to be able to use of their own as well, but might not even need it as Mixo falls early.
Ooh, beautiful stun coming in there from Yoshi to Soar, swapping over to that Cassidy to give a little bit more of the crowd control. Mifflet will go ahead and get that pick and trade as they go ahead and copy the D.Va. And now it's a 2-on-1 as we go ahead and see Spoody trying to hold together, but two D.Vas is bad enough to have to fight against with other heroes in the mix as well. A minute 20 remaining on the clock as we see Yoshiasaurus going back to spawn. I'm not for certain if they're going for healing. Nope, they're going to give up the Deadeye that they had available to swap over to the Tracer in hopes that maybe they can take down the support line that is giving Crumplers so much mobility.
Yeah, and I actually like this, but actually this bomb even more from Andy Taco is even better.
Ooh.
Lex gets picked off. The bomb was set up at such a perfect angle. It's like they knew when Kaiju Corps were just about to start committing in. They knew exactly when Lex was just going to start to push out to try and give more healing to their team, and punishes it with the bomb. Incredible reaction and game sense coming out there from Andy Taco to be able to seal the deal on that fight before anything could really even begin. And now there's only 30 seconds left on the board. Kaiju Corps have some ultimates to be able to invest here, but it's namely going to come down to how this Nano and how this copy are going to be used, and how is it going to find value against the transcendence of Yamitra.
Yeah, and I mean, it's kind of the back and forth of streaming, right? Is that you can get a huge amount of value by being streamed and just being able to have the support of your community, but it also allows the enemy to kind of see the strategies that you're utilizing. And right now, Crumplers just seem to, well, living up to their namesake, literally taking down any possibility as the Charlie Niner. I was watching the time, but I didn't even realize how close it was, thinking anybody was going to be able to touch that objective. But ring the bell, folks. First Charlie Niner on stream that at least I've seen during this weekend. That is going to be a rough hold for Kaiju Corp. Thankfully, it is first to 3. But if they lose here on Route 66, they're going to be on the back foot for the rest of this tournament.
Yeah, let's not forget too that this is their map pick coming into it. So that C9, with the amount of tools that they had in their arsenal to be able to take the point, that that's actually like one of the rougher C9s that I've seen. I'm not gonna lie to you, Jack. They easily had a Tracer or a D.Va to be able to touch the point there, and it's just a communication error. I think probably coming out there from the side of Kaiju Corps, but it's not over yet necessarily. Kaiju Corps did manage to get it past that second bend on first point, which is the most common place to be held if you are going to be full held. So there is potential here for Kaiju Corps to come out with an aggressive comp, try to aggressively hold the Crumplers at their spawn in the choke, and then also get a second fight on first point. And they could very well still hold this and win this. This is not over for Kaiju Corps. However, there's a very clear win condition now for the Crumplers, which they're probably going to capitalize on.
Yeah, we'll see how they utilize. Whoa! Afro taking it all the way from the corner right there. Immediately knew where Mifflet was coming up and just domes him with the Sonic Arrow. Absolutely insane plays. But one pick is not going to be enough to shut down a team like this. And that's only 30 seconds off the clock.
2 picks might be able to stop a team like this, though, as you just gets completely demolished up there on the ball. Unfortunate. Kaiju Core TMC, though, have a great comp to be able to kind of deal with the aggression coming out from the Crumplers as long as they're paying attention to when this ball comes in and they're saving the ball for it. But Tengu falling early, this Discord focus being out now for Kaiju Core TMC is not great, and the ammo doesn't save Spoony flying up either. This is rough for Kaiju.
Yeah, they're going to have to find a way to be able to hold this together because the spawn advantage just is not in their favor right now. Andy Taco and Yamcha are creating a lot of space, and that Transcendence is going to allow even more damage to come in from the Crumplers. They're just going to go ahead and take out the remainder, and it's not even going to be a final fight. Tengu's not going to be able to get there in time on that Zenyatta, and the Crumplers going ahead in dominant fashion, go ahead and lock down Route 66, bringing them 2-0. The possible last map in our tournament coming up, as we saw. I want to see the angle of this. This is beautiful.
Oh my god!
Flick.
What?
Insane. Didn't even see it. I thought maybe the Sonic Arrow was there. Maybe they saw the Hanzo come out of spawn, but you can't even tell at this angle whether or not Afro saw it. Just the immediate boom, reaction, flick, boom, headshot. Unfortunately, like I said, wasn't enough to be able to shut them down. They still took the point rather quickly, but Kaiju Corp, they're on their heels. They're meeting their match. This is, Godzilla versus King Kong. And right now, King Kong is showing to be the stronger kaiju of the two in the form of the Crumplers. If they want to turn things around, we need to be seeing some fire building up within this dragon.
Yeah, I really want to see some fire start to come out of here from Kaiju. If I'm being completely honest, they've pulled out some incredibly insane moments. I mean, we just saw one of them. Afro, that was the nastiest shot that I have seen in a watch in a really, really long time. Kudos to that. And in fact, they're actually going to be choosing this next map here, and it will be Nepal coming up, which is what they chose last time. Pulled out the Hog and managed to pull out an impressive win with it as well. This could potentially start to come out again, but the real question here is did the Crumplers see the last game, and are they going to know exactly what they're pulling out?
Yeah, and I think they don't have to necessarily worry about as much from the Crumplers that they were seeing from UNC. That was kind of more their specific strategy, so they might be able to go to more conventional means of being able to hold this objective. We do want to let you all know we are still taking donations for this amazing event. We broke our goal, but let's see how far we can get by the end of the night. Remember, this might be the last map, so get those donations in. Exclamation donate. They're in the chat. We're sitting at $1,149 for those in Ukraine that are fighting and trying to survive in the war that is going on over there. Remember, every dollar counts. So whether you can only donate a couple or even more than that, please be sure to go to that link at exclamation donate. And I'm gonna be interested to see what kind of strategy ends up coming out from Kaiju this time around, because with Crumplers taking such decisive victories in the first 3 rounds of gameplay, we didn't get to see a whole lot of their specialty compositions that we might see on a map like Nepal. Honestly, the only swaps that we've kind of really been seeing from Crumplers is the DPS line and just showing kind of how flexible they are. Otherwise, it's very, very standard dive, very standard Wrecking Ball Diva dive. a very standard rush composition. I mean, we haven't seen like the standard rush with the May Cassidy yet because we haven't really had a map for it, but we might see it here going into a place like Village, although these folks at this high level of play don't really have to worry about that. Kaiju opting into that double shield once again. Yoshisaurus going to be coming in on that May, try to give a little bit of CC, but Crumplers, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Tiny Brain is coming in on that soldier, as well as Flippy opting for that Tracer.
Yeah, and you were talking about substitutes. Flippy being a new player right now coming in here for the Crumplers as his DPS line continues to evolve. This is something that Kaiju Corp are going to have to be aware of. New tricks getting pulled out of the sleeves of the Crumplers, but Kaiju Corp have a tight lock right now on this point. Hugh's not able to roll through and get anything done. This double shield May sim hold.
Oh, wow.
Actually, not even sim with the Hanzo. On point is so difficult to try and break into. And if you're the Crumplers and you've given over point possession immediately, this is going to be difficult for them to try and take back. They have to wait for this wall to go down so they can roll through and find value, but that's a rough stagger pick.
I'm honestly a little surprised at the fact that Kaiju even stepped off of the objective. I mean, the strength of your composition is the fact that you're all bundled together in the point, and now you're kind of giving it over to the Crumplers. They're going to be able to pull back here, but exactly as you said, Tangerine, because of not only the slowing effect of May's Cryo Blaster, the wall, the halt from Mixo, if they're well timed, any type of roll through that Hugh tries to do is not going to get the value that they're looking for. But we see Ultimate's getting ready to come online as they look to take the point. Flippy's going to get picked off very early.
Yeah, and this is actually incredible from the side of Kaiju Corp. I really love the comp that they're pulling out here. Instead of pulling out the Symmetra that you usually see and bunkering down over point, they've opted in for this Moira Lucio to give an air of aggression to this comp that usually likes to play on point. They are able to rotate so quickly because of this Lucio and this Moira, and these supports are incredible at just managing to keep Kaiju Corp so aggressive. But the ultimate comes out there from Flippy, pulls bomb, finds a pick onto one of the backline members as the Dragon tries to come through from Afro to even up the score right now. But the Bongo from Mixo, even more pressure coming out from the side of Kaiju Corp, even more damage. Tiny Brain finding the pick though onto Afro is going to mitigate even a lot more the damage, but Spoony with the shatter, locking down so much value. Finding the pin onto Hugh. Wonderful looks coming out there from the side of Kaiju Corp, and an incredibly creative comp to back it.
Yeah, and I mean, just the dominance coming out from Kaiju on that composition, 100-0, really locking down not only the entrances, but just being able to utilize that Lucio to be able to chase down anyone that they needed to. Yamitra who was doing healing and damage from quite a bit of ways, pretty much at the edge of the map, that they could successfully still see the objective and be able to still heal in Discord, was getting chased down in mere seconds by the Kaiju Corp team once they dealt with the primary issues on the point. But now, with so many entrances here in Shrine, things are going to be a little bit more difficult. Yoshisaurus opting for the Tracer this time around, so they're not going to have as much CC as we have seen thus far.
Yeah, they're still rolling out with this double shield Lucio Moira comp though, and Tengu just got evaporated actually. I'm not even sure what quite happened there as this Kaiju Corp roster just completely crumbles after Tengu manages to fall. The pin comes out and finds Hugh to get a little bit more ultimate charge over to Spoony and to the supports overall. However, nothing much else to say here because the Crumplers are going to take point convincing.
Yeah, there's just too many ways for them to be able to push into this, and I think that's why Yoshisaurus has swapped over to the Tracer to try to see if they can mitigate some of that. But without the CC that they were utilizing, the only thing they have now being the Halt of Mixo, which is on a pretty decent cooldown, about 8 or so seconds. That's going to be a rough thing to try to utilize perfectly in order to get the full value out and keep this point in their favor as we see the Crumplers looking to come in and defend.
Yeah, Crumpler's trying to defend right here, and actually,
Huh?
almost gave up the point there to decide Kaiju Corp. Almost had that Coalescence to put into it, but Flippy and Andy Taco find the picks that are needed. This Coalescence won't find as much value, even if it is popped right now. The Shatter does manage to find Hugh, though. The Trank will be forced out, and the support ults are actually layered here from the side of the Crumplers. A little bit of panic coming out from the Crumpler side. Will manage to continue to keep this point unlocked, but it's a clear opening for Kaiju Corp to punish that.
Yeah, unfortunately they weren't able to take the point the way that they were hoping to, and Tengu really needs to be sticking with the rest of the team. I know that you really want to get in on some of that Reddit Lucioing, but it does become a little difficult when the rest of your team can't get around, or you get picked off early, as you see right there. Tengu fighting off, being a little bit of a distraction. Could have been a domed headshot right there, but Andy Taco is doing well, holding on to this point. Yoshiasaurus now over to the Soldier 76 as the Dragon Strike coming in from Afro will create some space, but the Dragon does not claim the objective for you.
That Dragon actually was almost massive. If it was like a millisecond earlier, it would have probably caught the Mercy. However, the Bongo comes through, and Tiny Brain is already in the backline. The Pulse Bomb 2 will likely be able to just get rid of this Bongo, or at least get rid of a player at this point, as Tiny Brain finds the players. Another DPS gone for the side of Kaiju Corp, and it's just snowballing in the way of the Crumplers right now. Kaiju Corp not even able to get a single percentage point accrued on the board, and it's the Uno reverse card coming out here for the side of the Crumplers. 1-1 right now on the Paul, and this is potential match point and tournament point, Jack.
That's absolutely true, Tangerine. And now we're heading into Sanctum, where both of these compositions are going to have a decent amount of value when it comes to that environmental potential. You have Hugh on that wrecking ball to be able to kind of bowl through and be able to send folks off of the side. Doesn't look like we're going to be seeing the Lucio from the Crumplers, so you could say that we have Andy Taco as well to be able to provide a little bit of boop potential. But the big ones are going to be coming in from Kaiju Corp. Mixo and Spoody coming in on that pulled pork composition. Yoshiasaurus opting for that Torb, and ooh, what a bad way to start off there for Hugh.
Yeah, and I mean, this Kaiju Corp comp it does what it's supposed to do best, and that's just punish these really split comps from coming in and trying to punish your team as much as possible. Taking out the ball there early, Kaiju Corp have a good amount of space to be able to work with now, especially since the Orisa can anchor so well on point, and when Afro's hitting shots like that, the anchors are going to be so important to gain you so much more space. The space needs to be created so Afro can get shots like that. Spoody finds another pick off onto Hugh, and this ball's barely able to do anything.
Yeah, they're just getting hooked and kind of stunned out at every point of trying to roll through this objective. And Afro now on the flank here, trying to see if they can fight off the remainder of the Crumplers, does allow Kaiju Corp to finally take control of the objective. And with Ultimate getting ready to come online for either side, Tiny Brain's Pulse Bomb is going to have to be huge if they want to dislodge Kaiju Corp from this point.
Yeah, and Lekt and Tengu are going to be playing together too, so as long as Lekt can get that ammo out quick enough, Tengu should be able to survive this pulse that comes out. And a lot of ultimates are also being accrued here on the side of Kaiju Corp, so it's just going to be a matter of who uses them. Finds the value, but you don't even need a pulse. Tengu's already down. This is great for the side of the Crumplers, who didn't have much to work with.
No!
Mixo's gone. Afro's Dragon's eaten by Andy Taco, and Hugh with the boop finds so much value. This is just going to be stall points coming out now for the side of Kaiju as they try to get some more percentage on point, but unfortunately it does get flipped in the Crumplers. What a great fight for them, honestly.
That's the thing that you always got to be watching out here on Sanctum. You have to watch for the wrecking ball because it's gonna be fast. Mixo, you could see just a minor millisecond of being able to activate that Fortify. Could have held it all together. Tengu just barely able to get out of the range of that self-destruct without having to use the Transcendent. But it's going to come in now from Yamitra to see if it can create some space for the Crumplers.
Yeah, not sure about that mine from the mines from Hugh coming out there. Possibly could have just been set a little bit farther back and it would have found more value because it would have plugged off the rest of that choke. And Kaiju Core are taking such big advantage of it. The Trank does have to be invested here from Tengu later on, which maybe wasn't even necessary, honestly. Kaiju Core don't have a lot of ultimates to be able to hold on to this next point, but C2D2 with that Valkyrie is going to be the difference maker here. If Kaiju Core can take out that Valkyrie quick enough or take out a player quick enough, they should be able to theoretically get this fight unlocked.
All right, your AC Hugh set up there in the back line. The hook comes in on the Tiny Brain to go ahead and shut down that pesky Tracer in the back line. Kaiju is pushed up and is ready to fight on this objective the best they can, but a little bit of control is being taken over. C2D2 gets found by Spoody on the flank. You gotta watch out for the Black King Hog, and Afro finding Yamitra as well. We might be seeing the flip of this. Flippy is able to find Tengu in trade with both Zenyatta's out of the fight. Gonna make it hard for them to hold on. 87% and climbing right now. The Crumplers have one quick fight if they want to be able to take this point back and not take us to another map.
Yeah, yo, somebody's got to check Afro's PC there really quick. Those were some nasty shots. The pull denies all the value going on the point. Kaiju Core take the map with that. What just happened? Oh my god. Afro, all right. There's a sequence of events that just decided to happen there. Afro hits the nastiest sequence of shots that I've ever seen through the map geometry and just finds random hits off onto the Zenyatta to take them out late into that fight. And then somebody gets pulled off the map who's trying to just get a touch in there from UNC. You can see why Kaiju picks Nepal now. This Roadhog pick is a sleeper pick, I have to say. It is working wonders right now. Wonders.
Yeah, it's really just kind of stalling out that composition and that halt at the end. It was the perfect distance to be able to keep Hugh away from being able to do the typical slam to try to save yourself on the edge. It was just far away to be able to get onto that objective, and it perfectly worked out for them. But remember, just one victory will not make you champions here. There's still 2 more maps now to be played, and the Crumplers now have the decision of where we're going to go next. And so far, when it comes to maps that are relatively spread out, don't have a lot of close quarters cover, Crumplers have shown to be a rather dominant force. Kaiju obviously looking for that close quarter combat, so if it were their choice, I imagine we'd go to a place like King's Row or something like that to try to shut down this Crumplers dive composition that they have been so keen on running. But nevertheless, we'll have to see what Crumplers decide on. There are a lot of maps available to them to choose from. Honestly, if it were me, I might be looking at Assault. I know people don't like hearing that, but honestly, Assault provides so much space for you to be able to work, especially if you're looking at places like Volskaya Industries. There's just so much high ground space, so many different potentials to be able to attack the objective, but it does provide places like Hanamura does provide some close quarter cover for Kaiju Corp to be able to fight back. So they have to be very particular about which map they believe is going to be the benefit to them to be able to lock down this victory.
Yeah, it looks like we do have a map, actually. It just unfortunately could not fit on the screen, but King's Row is going to be the map type, which is actually really interesting to me because you were making some really, really good points, and I was actually like leaning towards that Assault idea too, simply because Kaiju Corp have had a little bit of a difficulty when it comes to running this double shield against these really, really split comps that have been being brought out from the side of the Crumplers. But this is just a 180. In fact, I actually feel like Kaiju Corps' rush was looking really good, and they weren't even running a Lucio on their rush.
Yeah.
Mixo was getting an incredible amount of value on the Reinhardt, so this is an interesting pick in my opinion. And the Crumplers could just honestly be going for more Scrim experience here. Scrim's Row is something that's run an incredible amount of times, and I could be eating my words here as well, because I'm not sure what the Crumplers are going to really do here on this map type. But regardless, this is indeed still a charity event, and our donations are still open. So please, in the Twitch chat, type in !donate to donate to this wonderful, incredible cause. The donation is going to continue to stay open throughout the remainder of this match, and will continue to stay open even after the tournament is done. So donate as much as you physically can to this foundation to keep helping.
That is true. You can find out more information about global givings through !charity, and it will tell you a little bit more. You can also go to that donation link, and it will tell you more specifically about the charity for the Ukraine Crisis Relief Fund, if you are wanting to learn more about what's going on there. But honestly, this is turning out to be a wild change of events, and I think because of the level of play that we're at, I mean, there are very few teams at kind of like the tier 3 to tier 2 level that only have one composition that works in their favor. So I think this might be the Crumpler saying, okay, you want to shut us down on this dive? Well, we'll show you what we're all about, and possibly pull out a rush, maybe even try to mirror them as kind of like an Uno reverse card of sorts, to say, yeah, you can play it pretty good, but look how we do it, and kind of really get that dominant factor in there in the end. Regardless, it is another chance at life for Kaiju Corps to be able to continue fighting on in this tournament, and I see it in the chat. Definitely lots of love for Mixo. The need for more Torb and more Spoodhog is there and ready for the chat. They want it so badly. So I mean, as soon as the teams are ready to go, it looks like we're going to be heading into the map momentarily. Tangerine, I can't even kind of comprehend what kind of compositions are going to come out here. It's not that dive comp can't be run here, but I think all the advantage is in Kaiju Corp's side of the field right now.
Yeah, actually, they looked pretty good on their rush, even without a Lucio. But I actually enjoy the incentive that you were saying there, where it could potentially be an idea of anything you can do, I can do better, coming out there from the Crumplers, which could potentially either be their Achilles heel, or it could be something that wins them the entire tournament. We have yet to see. They do still have a map left even after this is done underneath their wing in a map pick. So if you are going to choose a map to kind of throw a wrench into things and see what can happen, this would be a wonderful map to do it on, because regardless, if you lose this map, you have another map and it's still going to be your map pick, and maybe you're hiding your sleeper map pick for then. But regardless, it's going to be a wonderful matchup anyway, I have to say. I love seeing some King's Row. Scrim's Row is one of my favorite things to see, and I'm sure that the audience is going to love it as well. It's just a crowd favorite.
I definitely agree. As a caster myself, typically I see it a lot, or I had been seeing it a lot in 2021 just because of the popularity of the rush. But as the dive has become kind of this more dominant composition, even this Orisa D.Va that we've seen a little bit from Kaiju Corp, it's provided a lot more utility to a lot more maps, which I think kind of brings a little bit of life back into Overwatch, because you gotta be honest, whether you're a caster or a viewer, sometimes even a player, although King's Row is a favorite map by many, it does get a little tiresome sometimes if you're having to play the same map over and over and over again in competition. But nevertheless, this does provide a little bit of freshness to what we've seen so far in this tournament, because honestly, based at least on the streamed matches that we've been able to watch, King's Row has been a fairly rare pick for a lot of the teams that have been participating. So I am once again intrigued to see what these teams are going to be pulling out here. It looks like we're still dealing with possibly some issues with the team. We might need to send it to a short break, give them a little bit of a rest. But it looks like we figured out whatever that issue is. We're going to be heading into that map momentarily. So we'll remind you one more time, be sure to hit that exclamation donate in the chat. We have reached our goal, but come on, we can keep going. We can keep earning money. Every little bit helps. And Kaiju Corp, they're locking in with Lucio in tow. This double shield composition where Crumplers are opting for that traditional rush.
Man, they love this.
Oh!
Rush. They love this style of rush, Kaiju Core. This double main tank rush is just such a thick composition to try and break through. But when you have the flashes coming out from Tiny Brain combined with the speed boost to capitalize on it, if you surround this Orisa just falls apart. And that's what happens when you don't have the DM to come out. I have a feeling a switch should potentially start to come out here soon from the side of Kaiju Core TMC. They need to mitigate some of the damage coming out here from Tiny Brain. Tiny Brain's already 75 to their ultimate.
Well, they did have a swap. It wasn't the one we were thinking of, though. We do see the shatter coming out from Hugh, gets blocked by the Orisa shield, and Tiny Brain once again showing to have the big brain right here. The fire strike through the Ant Matrix ends up finding Lect in the backline, and once again the Cassidy going ham, serving justice with the Peacekeeper. 2:45 remaining on the clock, as Kaiju Corp are definitely going to have to think of a different strategy or use the ultimates coming online to their advantage.
They do have a good amount of ultimates actually coming online, and it's going to be up to Andy Taco to try and mitigate this Blizzard entirely. Yoshisaurus could make a lot of value come out from this, and it's a Deadeye from Tiny Brain that comes out trying to save Hugh, and it does manage to work out. The Shatter just misses! That was by a frame practically, but Yamitra falls. The Blizzard is huge there from Yoshisaurus, finds so much value and locks down the statue area, forcing back the Crumplers back away from the archway. This Reinhardt on top right now from Hugh is not going to be able to contest the point most likely, and Kaiju Core TMC are going to wrap up first point here pretty convincing.
Lippy, that was a catch-22 clutch when it came to that Maywall. Yes, you shut down Spooty Shatter by just making it a reverberation in the sky, but you also set up Yoshisaurus to be able to throw out the Blizzard on the other side of that wall without Andy Taco paying attention. It just created a huge opportunity for Kaiju, and this Dragon Strike might open things up for the Streets phase.
Yeah, the Dragon splits the Crumplers in half and forces out the Immortality. Hugh is getting very aggressive here, and it's going to prompt the Crumplers to get aggressive as well. Forces out Beat and the Blizzard. The Bongo not going to find any value here from Mixo as trades come out. The main tanks are gone. Well, I should say one of the main tanks is gone here from the side of Kaiju Core, and they are going to get forced back because of it. They don't have the damage mitigation that comes out here from having the Demon Defense Matrix to really be able to take as much room as easily. Tengu does end up investing a beat really, really late into that fight as well. And it's just a Spooty, though, and it forces the Crumplers back and forces them out of this choke. This could potentially be winnable here for Kaiju Core if Lek comes back a window in time.
Well, I mean, the spawn advantage is in favor of Kaiju Core right now, so even though the beat didn't really provide a whole heck of a ton of value, Andy Taco definitely knew that they weren't going to be able to take it out on their own. They're going to be able to hold this corner, though, with dueling Ant Matrices. Let's see where the damage falls.
Yeah, Hugh just gets evaporated. Oh my god, that was insane. The window pressure that just came out there possibly overstayed their welcome a little bit too much, being sandwiched in between the two windows there as Kaiju wraps it up really convincingly there for Streets phase. In fact, doesn't even need to cap the point. They don't need to do it, Jack. They're just going to let it roll in naturally as they finally manage to cap. Minutes still left up on the clock, and that beat from Tengu, while unconventional, was actually an incredible beat. It forces a 2v3 situation to be a one fight there from Kaiju Core. They know that they can win it out with the ultimates later on.
That's true. Oh my gosh, Afro! Once again, just being absolutely deadly on this Hanzo the Blizzard from Yoshisaurus to go ahead and push into this final corner of King's Row. I'm telling you right now, the Crumplers, they thought they had it ready and raring to go, but this Dragon Strike cleaning up the backline finds Tiny Brain, and the Immortality Field saves from Andy Taco's bomb. There's very little ultimates on the field. The beat being fed in from C2D2, and it might be enough. You able to now swing into the enemy that is Kaiju, is able to find a couple of picks, and Flippy with the cleanup. They're going to be able to push them back, but that was just a minute fight, Tangerine. There's still 3 minutes of this chaos to go.
Yeah, still 3 minutes indeed to go, and what a wonderful beat that came out there from C2D2 to be able to seal the deal up on that fight. It effectively renders Kaiju Corps useless as they don't have a beat of their own, just surrounds the team completely. The Fire Strike with the window gets so much value too. And that's just a fight that's completely gone with just the use of Ymitra's window. It allows the Crumplers to get more ultimate charge, and Hugh is going for a...
I hate this so much. I hate it so much. All it takes is one time checking your corners. Thank goodness. Mixo was able to find out you. The shatter comes up massive from Spooty. You thought you were going to catch them on their heels. Ymitra is able to get the pick onto Spooty, but the streets are cleared right now for Objective Charlie. The only one left on point right now is Flippy, if they can stay alive, but Lect has found them as well. It's a 3v3 fight now on the objective with 2 minutes remaining, and the feed coming in from both sides. This Dragon Strike is gonna have to be massive.
Yeah, and it's really good, actually. It splits the team and stops the aggression that comes out there from the Crumplers. The beat supplements it as well as Kaiju Corps collapse in, but Afro, one of the key players on the side of Kaiju Corps, has been taken out. The Blizzard gets eaten by Andy Taco. Yoshisaurus not going to find any value in that one, as Andy Taco eventually does fall out of mech, but it might be too little too late here for the side of Kaiju Corps to try and recover from this fight, despite being so close to finishing up this map. They couldn't quite complete Point C.
I thought that was actually going to be a huge miss there on the side of Crumplers. You ended up seeing C2D2 come in from the back and ended up booping a majority of Kaiju Corp out of the Dragon Strike of Flippy. I thought that was kind of going to be the nail in the coffin, but man, Andy Taco, head on a swivel with that massive E.
Oh my god.
Oh, anything you can do, I can do just as well.
This is insane, the window fire strike coordination that is coming out there, and it basically just seals the deal entirely on this fight. C2D2 going to try and get a contest on, but it's going to be all for naught. Kaiju Corps cap, and in fact, they complete with 38 seconds left on the board. This is a wonderful sign here for Kaiju Corps. There's no win condition in sight currently for the Crumplers, and they just have to try their best on this attack.
This is insane. Tangerine. It's absolutely insane. The back and forth that we're seeing between these two teams, they are both completely dedicated in the zone right now, and it is literally coming down to that first movement. Whoever is the initiator, whoever makes that first move going into each fight really kind of tells what is going to be happening. I mean, you see one team trying to coordinate and isolate off, and the other team just uses it to their advantage to go ahead and take out the other team's backline or take out the other team entirely. It is just continuing to be this absolute game of 3D, maybe 4D chess at this point, where the teams are just strategizing around each other's defenses, seeing where the big picks come in. I think the biggest thing that keeps surprising me is just Afro on these off angles, just constantly shutting down Flippy and Tiny Brain out of nowhere. It's like they know that Afro's gonna be there, but they're just never prepared for that one arrow between the eyes.
Yeah, and something that's so special with Kaiju Core's comp, namely, is actually the Orisa, and it's why this Hanzo works so well on the side of Kaiju Core. Mixo is able to anchor into these positions that you wouldn't normally be able to anchor hard in on King's Row, and it allows Afro to get so much more space and so much more wiggle room to be able to take these aggressive angles with the more shields that they have. But Kaiju Core TMC are getting surrounded right now. The wall gets pulled up from Yoshi, though, and completely separates the rest of the Crumplers and completely dismantles their push as well.
Oh my goodness. Team kill rings out loud and proud right there. Once again, Afro taking advantage of the push in from the Crumplers. Kaiju Corp utilizing the objective almost like a spider's web. Come here, my little pretties, and now you're trapped in here with us instead of trapping us here in the corner. As long as Afro continues to have this free reign, it is going to continue to come up Kaiju.
Yeah, but this is scary. There was a meaty fire strike that came out there from Hugh and got that shatter up quick with Spoody. Realizes that the shatter might be up and blocks it promptly. The Dragon also up here from Afro could get all of these players. Oh no! It just offsets the Dragon and completely actually saves everybody from the Crumplers. What? And I don't even know how else to say that. That was such an unlikely counter to save the Crumplers there from that fight, but the pin completely just offsets the Dragon and allows the Crumplers to be able to just take the rest of the fight.
Don't know what to say. Oh my goodness, it's just like, of all the things that you think would shut down what was the perfectly lined up Dragon Strike, and I'm not even certain if Yumitra had the Immortality Field online to be able to eat up a majority of that damage, but it came down to Hugh sacrificing his life to be able to not only take down Spoody across the map, but also just barely throw off Afro. And now we're heading into the Streets phase. Blizzard unleashed by Yoshiasaurus, or at least it seemed to, but Flippy's in the backline with this Dragon Strike.
Tiny Brain is getting so much value with these flashbangs coming out from Cass. It completely negated the shatter that came out, but Hugh gets the MTD off onto Spoody, and Spoody has been doing so well. Spoody and Mixo actually have been doing so well, respectively, on this Reinhardt role. They've been landing off so many shatters throughout the course of the matches that they've been playing today, but Hugh finds the upper edge there, gets the shatter off, and this could potentially be second point if the Crumplers can snowball this out with the window and the beat.
This is just insanity that is happening at this point. Both of these teams are just showing to go to the extremes of what they're willing to do to be able to try to shut the other down. Self-destruct going in, doesn't find the value it's looking for, but it creates the opening for the Crumplers to go in and just smash the defensive strategy that Kaiju Corp had lined up. With 4:30 on the clock now, Kaiju is going to have to turn things around in a meaningful way, and right now they think that it's the DPS line that needs to change that up. Afro not going to be going for those money shots anymore. They're going to be coming in with the Doomfist.
I like this a lot better, honestly, coming out from Kaiju Core, especially on third point. This works really well. But the Bongo coming out from Mixo, it's going to be difficult, but the beat that came out from C2D2 was just so well timed. Couple that with the Dragon Strike that came out from Flippy, just completely spits Kaiju Core in half. Mixo and Spoody both fall victim to that Dragon Strike, completely separating the positioning of Kaiju Core, and now they only have this Shatter to be able to work with. Afro almost has that Doomfist ult though. Let's see if they can be a thorn in the side of the Crumplers. As the Shatter gets so many!
The Shatter goes down, able to get two, but the cleanup is in Tiny Brain's favor, and the Deadeye comes out to try to zone as best as they can with the help of the Amplification Matrix. But Afro's in the backline, finds two, but gets found once again by the Peacekeeper of Tiny Brain. They're trying to straggle them out as well as they can, but the Crumplers are rolling back in and rolling back in quickly. Mixo now on this wrecking ball is going to try to push them back as best as they can, and it looks like Andy Taco is now the only one remaining on the objective, having to fight it out, and finds the uppercut of Afro to be sent back to spawn, but they still have 3 minutes and only 3 meters to push into final objective.
Yeah, this is going to have to be a full Nox hold coming out here from the side of Kaiju Corps if they really, really want to win this. But they do have the ultimates to be able to do it. They just can't use too many here on this next engagement. This Dragon could completely split them off, though. And Yoshi, they're going to be forced to use ultimates now. Lex Window comes out, but Andy Taco's bomb finds Tengu in that mix as well. No beat now for the side of Kaiju Corps. And that is the ultimate that you needed to use if you really wanted to continue to win this fight. But the picks just aren't coming out quite yet. As I say that, Afro falls. Mixo falls suit as well. Tengu uses the beat to try and get more space kept up here, but Tiny Brain's Deadeye will likely be able to zone people on point. The beat coming out,
oh
puts
my
the final
goodness,
nail on the coffin, as well as the Deadeye from Tiny Brain. And the Crumplers will cap with 2 minutes and 34 seconds left on the clock. Only a minute left for Kaiju Corps to try and get anything done here with their second attack.
Crumplers are once again showing that when push comes to shove, they have other gears that they are able to shift into without even really changing up their composition. They really found the linchpin and the defensive strategy that was Kaiju Corps, but both teams have an opportunity to be able to bring it back again. The only thing is that the Crumplers were able to set up a relatively good defense when it came to the first couple pushes that came in from Kaiju Corp. So it's really going to be up to Kaiju to try to see if they can maneuver either quicker or be able to get that initial pick sooner so that they are able to get that in their advantage. We know this payload is going to be, if the payload even gets unlocked, I should say, is going to be pushed in overtime for a majority of the streets phase between Bravo and Charlie. So it's really going to come down to a beautiful use of staggered ultimates, really trying to shut down anything that is coming their way, and just essentially being ready for anything, which is really hard with a team like the Crumplers and their ability to just absolutely go in any direction.
Yeah, Kaiju Corps are just going to work with what they worked with on their first point and are going to really hope that Afro gets an opening pick, honestly. Mixo falls incredibly low at the beginning, though, and it ruins their ability to really anchor incredibly quickly right away. The Crumplers trying to pour out as much damage as they can into this double shield comp coming out from Kaiju, and it's actually a flank right now that comes up from Flippy right away. This is such a good way to crack open this Kaiju Corps comp, realizing that if they just suffocate them quick enough and take advantage of the fact that they're going to have this shield put directly in place here from Mixo. It is set in stone. It cannot move. That's how they punish them. Crumplers, this is looking great for them. 15 seconds left now for Kaiju to get this done.
I mean, it just comes down to the same amount of pressure that we saw from Kaiju. They drew them in, and then the flank came in from Flippy. And with this amplification matrix, if it gets the value it did last time, Kaiju might not have a chance to touch this point, and it's overtime.
Yeah, overtime indeed. Apro misses that shot. You gotta hit that shot, Apro! No! Good shots, but that one just doesn't quite connect, and that could have potentially taken out the DPS. This could be something that unfortunately turns the tide. Hugh puts the shatter down into the wall, unfortunately, but it's because their target just ends up falling a little bit too quick. Mixo trying to come onto the point and get something done, and it just feels like, unfortunately, this Kaiju comp relies a lot on Afro hitting an insane amount of shots, and sometimes it's just hard to put all of that pressure and pin it onto that player. Afro doing as much as they could there within that effort, but unfortunately just could not crack open a tick. And now it's only a drawable situation right now for Kaiju Corps, and it's an incredible win condition right now that's set here from the Crumplers to win this tournament.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely not out of the realm of possibility for Kaiju to be able to keep this going if they're able to set up a meaty defense. But the fact of the matter is just the time bank. It's 2 minutes and 34 seconds on the clock. That's more than enough time for players at this level to be able to set up ultimates. And the Crumplers have shown that not only can they do it quicker than most, they're able to stagger them out in a way that essentially leaves the enemy team completely defenseless by having to use every ability that they have in the pocket. I don't know what plan Kaiju Corp is going to be coming out with here next. I just hope that it's going to be enough and it's going to be able to be utilized in a way that works out well for them. It looks like they're going to go continue with that bread and butter of the Mei and the Hanzo of Yoshi and Afro. Again, I just really hope that it's enough for them to be able to hold on to this. But nevertheless, it has been one heck of a grand finals.
Yeah, no kidding. And Kaiju Corp have been pulling out some crazy fun comps to supplement it with it. This is some creative Overwatch that's been coming out, and that's not something that you hear very often in 2022. So this is wonderful to see. Flippy, though, on the off angle through Hotel, trying to get something done. Yet again, this could be the thorn in the side for Kaiju Corp if the off angle is exposed here. But Spoony gets exposed first. The main takedown from the side of Kaiju Corp. The Crumplers are crumpling the defense of Kaiju Corp and crumpling the chances further of Kaiju Corp getting anything done else in this tournament. And that's it. The Crumplers have 3-1 Kaiju Corp Tengu's Money Crew and have officially won the tourney. This is an incredible feat there from the Crumplers and an incredible match to boot.
Play of the game going to Hugh has to be one of the many massive shatters that we saw come out. Oh, actually, no, it's the double fire strike right here. Then the absolute cleanup that then came into just the well thought out planning of the Crumplers throughout this entire tournament is what has brought them to victory. Well deserved, but honestly, the victory goes to those in Ukraine in a way by the donations that have kind of stalled out a little bit. I know everybody was probably really invested in this final match, but remember the donation link is still available. Exclamation point donate in the chat. We're sitting at $1,149. And remember, every single dollar goes straight to the Global Givings Ukraine Crisis Fund. So please be checking that out. Support in any way you can for those that are really needing it in this moment. And Tangerine, I could not have asked for a better last day of Overwatch than we have seen here in this charity tournament.
That was truly exciting. I have to say, it's not very often that you find Overwatch nowadays that inspires creativity and inspiration from those around it. But I will say that all of the team played today showed their stuff, and their team shined individually so incredibly well. Star moments came out from every single player today, and star moments are also coming out from everybody in the chat and everybody who has donated so far to this wonderful and lovely cause. Almost $1,150. Crazy. That is just an insane amount for such a wonderful, wonderful cause. And this tournament is just a testament to how much good this community can truly do when their minds are put to it. So thank you to everybody on the staff, including yourself, Jack. You are also on the staff for this and have put in an incredible amount of time to this, and I don't want that to go unnoticed. I want to thank everybody on the staff here today for being with us, Refused for being with us on Prod. We also have Kothar, Hippie, Elor, Lunakir, MI Blizzard, all of these wonderful, wonderful people, including you all in the chat, including every team that came out to participate in this event. I mean, it just came together wonderfully, and everything just looked great.
And I think the best thing about tournaments like this is that, yeah, you know, we can put on tournaments with huge prize pools and things like that and really get kind of the best of the best. But to me, the best level of Overwatch, the best type of Overwatch is for that, just for the absolute glory of being able to participate. So once again, as you said, Tangerine, thank you so much to the teams that were willing to participate, help us get to this amazing goal to be be able to help out those in need. I assure you, this isn't going to be the last tournament done by these folk. We're going to be looking for more opportunities, whether it be for a better ABK or other charities that are out there that are in need. We'll be putting together another tournament in the future, so be sure to be paying attention to socials. I know I post it on my own, but you can see it on Star Esports and Kothar's Twitter and various other places. So be sure to be following us on social media, and be sure to be following these channels as well to be seeing any of the action that is going to be coming up. Again, once again, a super big thank you to our production team today. A little bit of multi-observation. If you didn't see all those scuffed at times, it just happens. Technology is just the way can be a boon and a bust at certain times, but it looked beautiful nonetheless. Thank you so much for watching. From Tangerine, myself, and the entire staff here at the Global Giving Ukraine Crisis Fund Overwatch Charity Tournament, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see y'all next time.